Hey, hello everyone. Can we have a head count on how many college students do we have and how many uh, working professionals do we have in the chat so that we can possibly focus on that section? Yeah, in the chat you can write, right? Yeah, I can see there are more working professionals. Okay, let's wait and see how many college students and how many working professionals we have. So far, I think we have college students, which are majorly part of this, and there are a couple of working professionals also. So let's do it this way. We'll have a mix of both, where I will be discussing my journey when I was looking for a job, being a college student, and then eventually we'll see how my career progressed through and while I was working professional, how I started looking for the product based companies. So yeah, okay, let's get started. Let's first start with my introduction so that you can possibly ask the relevant doubts. Okay, so hey guys, my name is Rahul. I have like 7+ years of experience into software development. Currently, I'm working as a ST3 in JP Morgan Chase. Okay, so yeah, let's start from the beginning. So when I started my career as a college student, the thing that I was struggling with is to get a off-campus placement. There are chances, like some of us who don't get a good on in-campus placement, or maybe if you are getting a low package, then you possibly you know your caliber, right? So if you want to pursue some off-campus placement, then you fight more. Okay, so when I was trying, I was getting less response because eventually what they are expecting is somebody who have a bit of experience. When you have done your internship, you could possibly tell them what makes you different from other candidates. So yeah, that one thing I was struggling with. So luckily I was having a college senior who was acting like a mentor for me, who was keep on guiding me for what to learn, when to learn, how much to learn. And I can possibly go back to him and I can possibly ask him where I'm lagging behind. So yeah, luckily I got a off-campus placement with this company called Captain Private Limited, where I was working on different all sorts of Python projects. That was majorly working for defense, Indian defense. So yeah, that was my first company where actually I learned a lot in Python, and they eventually gave me some challenging projects that boost my career further. Then I land up into a service-based firm where I possibly get exposure to different tech stack like JavaScript, Python, Scala. Also, I have done couple of projects. So yeah, different languages and different domain I've been to, like software development plus data engineering stuff that I was part of. So yeah, that was like a gist of it. If we look about my recent exposure, okay, so recently I was working as a senior software developer, but the thing that I was lagging behind is to get into a dream company, or you can say a product-based company that you look up to for a very long-term period that you can possibly join and you land up for like next 1 decade at least if you want to. Okay, depends on person to person, things varies. So yeah, I was started looking for a product based company, but the setback for me was first my resume was not getting shortlisted. That was the one pointer, and which was the showstopper for me. So eventually I figured out there is something wrong with my resume that I should be working on. So I started going to different communities. Like there are different meetups. If you are in a metro city, like I was there in Delhi, and right now I'm in Bangalore. So yeah, I started talking to these people where they are more like you should get your resume ATS friendly. Then that was new for me because I was not knowing what is ATS, how I can possibly customize my resume based on the ATS thing. So I started Googling and I got to know, okay, ATS is something that most of the company use, and that eventually is your starting point if you want to get into a good company. Because eventually, if your resume is not getting shortlisted, there's no way you can possibly get inside a product-based company because your resume is not there with the recruiter that you want. So yeah, first thing was my resume that was not properly formatted, or you can say the standard that they are following, the resume parser is rejecting my resume. So first thing I worked upon is my resume. Then eventually I have to start preparing for the interviews, because after the resume shortlisting, there will be a couple of rounds that you have to been through. So yeah, I was prepared. Like I was opted for different sort of courses. I was looking into the videos, YouTube videos, all of that sort of stuff. But I was not having that sort of confidence. And at times when I was actually interviewing with these people, these companies, the thing that I was lagging behind is the, sometimes they don't give you reviews. Okay, so then you don't get to know where to improve, what to improve. Okay, so eventually I figured out I should be having some sort of mock interviews that will eventually have, the other person can possibly tell me where I'm lacking behind, what I should be working on. So yeah, I started having some sort of what to say, the in mock sessions. Okay, and that eventually gave me a reality check that I was fumbling when I was actually going for an interview, because at time the new problem that you see, even though you have practiced it, you fumble while explaining, or I was too frequently thinking, and without discussing it with an interviewer, I was simply jumping onto the solution of it. Like I started coding all of these things. So I was not familiar with the ritual or the thought process that goes into the interview process when you're actually interviewing for a product based company, because it's not like they are just looking for a candidate who can just code it. They are looking for a culture fit of that candidate with the company, because the engineers that are working there are already skillful, but they have other attributes also. So yeah, having that mock interviews eventually helped me understanding that I should be approaching the problem first. I should be thinking of a solution. I should be discussing it with the interviewer, and then eventually I should be after the approval of the interviewer, I should be coding that part on the ID that is given to me. So yeah, that was one of the things that I figured out while having these mock sessions with my mentor. And yeah, talking about my learning from this process of interviewing with a product based firm, because they are there's a slight difference between when you're working on, when you're interviewing for a product based company and when you're interviewing for the service based company, because service based company eventually ask you the question that is crucial for their business, because most of the service based company, they use some random tech stack like Python. If you're good with databases, if you're good with, then they can possibly hire you, because what they want is already there within you. But these product based companies usually have their internal tech stack that you can possibly learn. Okay, so they are not much concerned about how much you know, what you know, but they are more concerned about the DSLGO skills and the culture fit, all of these things, so that you can possibly mold yourself into their culture. So yeah, that was something that I understood, which is required when you are interviewing for a product based firm than a service based firm. So yeah, that was just a gist of it. Let's have a doubt session till this time. Any sort of doubt you are having, then we can possibly move forward. So yeah, you can write it in the chat, or if somebody want to come on speaking mode, we can possibly unmute you guys and you can ask your doubts. Okay, I have one question asking about difference between ST 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then how to tailor your resume. Okay, yeah, let's go one by one. So basically, ST123, the difference varies from company to company. If you are interviewing for a Google company, something like Google, it starts from L4. Okay, L4 is the first, which is equivalent to ST1 to that ways. Okay, because they have a immediate criteria that minimum years of experience that they need is this much only. So yeah, depends on company to company. These designation varies, like L4, L5, L6 is there with Google. With other companies is ST1, 2, 3, that way. So basically, ST1, they are more particular about the DSLGO skills. But nowadays, I can see the change in the trend where they are actually looking for people who are good with system design also, because eventually there is a big crowd that want a job. So what makes it different is the design skills. that you can possibly participate in the discussion which is there for the design of that overall infrastructure, and that makes you different eventually. So it's a good to have thing, but yeah, SD1 and two, possibly you are good with DSL Go, they will take you in. But eventually, as you start moving towards the senior role, they expect you to be good with system designs also. Okay, talking about tailoring your resume, yeah, you can possibly. So one thing I already told you, the ATS part of it. So you just Google it out, ATS. You have some free website, resumeworded.com is one of those websites where you can possibly put your resume. It will tell you the score. It is for free. You can just go upload your resume and you will get to know that what's your ATS score. If it is too low, just start working on it and keep on re-uploading, so that the good score is anything above 75 is good, because at the end of the day it can't be perfect, but anything above 75 is good. So yeah, that is around the resume part of it. If you guys want, I can possibly share my resume also, just to have a benchmark like how it should look like. And then talking about you are in college, no? So okay, that's a question mark. I already explained that part. Like, I'm a working professional. So yeah, how to get good internship at this time? Okay, so in order to get a good internship, eventually you have to first apply to different what to say, like companies. Eventually, there's a huge crowd. So there's a plus point that I can possibly tell you. You start connecting with these people who are actually working with these companies. Okay, you should be targeting the managers, okay, because these are the people who are the decision makers in the company. Okay, so if you start connecting with people who are there in a company in a managerial role, and you pitch your resume, then they can possibly hire you. They can possibly schedule an interview at least. Okay, and eventually that is your backdoor entry to the internship. Okay, because internship they don't expect much. It's just that your resume should land up to the HR's cabin. That's it. So yeah, you should be connecting to different engineering managers in different good firms. Okay, that is the way to go to get a good internship in a product-based company. How is ATS score 60? I think it's okay-ish, but I am expecting a 75 plus, because yeah, mine was I think 88. Okay, so anything above 75 is good. Uh, Hello, guys. Sorry for interrupting in between. Please tell me tips for acting hiring interviews for SEP intern position. Okay, yeah. So basically, for higher view, I can possibly tell there are so many videos that you can go through. Plus, the add-ons could be, you should be prepared in such a way that someone just try to mock it with somebody else. It could be your colleague or it could be your friend, where you actually try pretending it to be a real interview, so that all your hand movements, gesture. There are few more things that add on to your overall value, because in higher view interviews that is also important. So yeah, these things that you can work upon other than your regular skills. Please share the link of your resume after the session. Yeah, that I will do. I will share my LinkedIn also, if you guys want to apply to JPMC, because we have so many openings, so I can possibly refer you there. Come again, the ATS website. Okay, yeah, it is resumeworded.com, so that you can go through and check it. How to make ATS friendly resume. There are so many different websites that you can possibly go to. There are some paid subscription, there are some free subscription. So it depends on your budget. You can possibly look through. Hello guys, sorry for interrupting in between. Please send me tips for acting with this. I already answered. Okay, how can we find these managers on LinkedIn? How you should upload? So it's very simple. First, you go to a LinkedIn website. Sorry, you go to LinkedIn website. You search for that company. Then once you are inside that company, there are a people section. Inside people section, you should be writing engineering managers. So all the engineering managers will pop up. Then you have to filter on the basis of location. It could be Bangalore. Okay, for me. Okay, so Bangalore, all the Bangalore managers will be shortlisted, and then you can possibly send a connection request with the customized note, and you can use ChatGPT for writing that customized note. That's a good tool. इंटरव्यू में डीएसए कौन सा टॉपिक के ऊपर क्वेश्चन पूछता है. ओके, सो डिपेंड्स ऑन द कंपनी. सो यू कैन चेक which company asks which difficulty of question. If it is a easy, then I could possibly suggest you to stick with arrays, linked list, There are some basic topic: array, linked list, trees. Yeah, it is some sort of medium question, but yeah, array, linked list, hash map, these three will be good. I think there are so many playlists that you can go through, or you can possibly yeah, I think array, hash map, and linked list will be the easy part of it if they ask easy question. If you move on to something like LinkedIn or Google or something, so they started asking medium questions. So on top of medium question, they ask you follow-up questions. Okay, so I've been interviewed with Google where I figured out it's not enough to just answer the question, because what they do, they give you a question. They first ask you what's your approach to it. Okay, you answer it, then they eventually ask you follow-up question, that why do you think this is the most optimized approach, or if there is an optimized approach, please let us know. Okay, so you eventually optimize your solution for like half an hour. After, once the interviewer is satisfied, then only he tell you, okay, just code it out. Okay, and yeah, that is the way to go. So they usually ask medium to hard question, depends upon the time that is given to them. And yeah, that way you can practice, and there are so many playlists that you can follow that can help you to, because basically there are what I figured out, there are few patterns that you should be focusing on, and that is being repeated in so many different companies. Okay, so it could be like find kth largest number, or something similar to that. So you can see these question is being asked with so many different companies. So yeah, the questions usually get repeated in that way. Okay, so let's take another question. uh, Good at fundamentals and DSL Go, but not done internship with that much effort much. So yeah, so basically, see, there are two categories of company. Startups and MNCs. Okay, so MNCs, as I told you, if it is a product based company, there are chances that they have an internal tool. Okay, so they are not focusing on your technical skills in some tech stack. Okay, because I told you they have internal tool, they will give you training on top of it, so you will eventually learn. So they are more majorly focusing on DSL. So you have to be good with DSL. And if you're not that much confident with DSL1, if you want to get started, you have less time, you can possibly look for a service-based startup, okay, or a normal startup. So they majorly focusing on how many projects you have done, uh, how basically you have. So it's good to have, if you have a project which is deployed, that you can possibly share it with your uh, interviewer, okay, so that he can just go through and you can possibly explain how you have deployed it, or how you have developed it. Okay, so that's a good to have thing. Let's take another question. Another question is, okay, array and string are mostly asked. Yeah, same thing. Array, strings, linked list, all of these things. So you can practice that. Next is, yeah, graph. Graph is a medium level question. Okay, so medium to hard you can think of. So yeah, you should be practicing, but first focus on linked list, strings, arrays, all of these things. And then moving on, we have, beside DSA, what is the second ability we should on in order to get a job in ST, like SQL, Agile Cloud, soft skills. Okay, yeah. So again, coming back to that, it should be you are practicing for a service-based company or a product-based company. Product-based company majorly focus on DSA and system design. If you're going for a startup or like a mid-level startup, if they are very specific about the requirement, they should be asking you one language. Pick one language when you're coding, like DSA, Python, JavaScript, or Java. Depends on which company, on the which tech stack they're working on. They will be prioritizing that. So one thing is that, second, SQL. Yeah, obviously you should be equipped with SQL, because that is a part of your college curriculum. So that you should be good at. And related to all this AWS and cloud services, it's a good to have thing. Okay, eventually if you have that, you have a upper hand in the interview, basically, because there are, everybody is good with a language and a SQL thing nowadays. So it's a good to have thing. If you have deployed your code yourself on a server, and you can be able to explain it to the interviewer, I think you have your way into the company. Any resources for previous hierarchy question? Okay, any resources for previous? So I think, see, my interview doesn't went through HireVue. It's a different process. So I was also looking into these YouTube videos, and there are good content around HireVue. So you can possibly go ahead and explore that part. Okay. Can you please tell me how to apply for data science role for as a fresher? Yeah, so basically, obviously, you can go to the career portal, you can apply it, but I would recommend you to first figure out which company the role belongs to. Reach out to the concerned person. It could be our engineering manager, because there are good chances that the team which is hiring the candidate for, he's that engineering manager, or he can pass on a resume to the another engineering manager who's hiring for that role. So your way in is like your profile is get shortlisted, then eventually you can prepare for the interviews. So yeah, that's my tip. Tips for shortlisting resume. I think I already told you. Like first is ATS, second is obviously you have to reach out to the managers, because recruitment team everybody is reaching out to, so you have to think differently, because engineering manager is hiring, and if they have your resume directly, so they can possibly help you in that case. I have made good resume based on overleaf template. Still, it's not getting shortlisted. Yeah, I told you, like there are higher chances that it have a less ATS score, because all these companies follow a particular software which is a resume parser, and based on that, most of the resumes are getting shortlisted. So yeah, that is my answer to that. Recently, I gave the JPMC summer internship code for good coding round. On what basis they select people for the code for good hackathon? Some of my senior was saying we need to have 9 plus CGP, and I did see and solve both the questions. The coding and for, yeah, I agree to it, because JPMC have certain standards, as in like they follow like some CGPS score should be there, and then eventually the time, because there are so many people who are attempting the same test, going for the same role, so eventually we have to cut it short. So they have some criteria. So I don't have much knowledge around that, but yeah, I think the knowledge that you have is already enough to answer that question. System design roadmap, please. Yeah, so system design roadmap, I can possibly share some of the resources that I figured out for that help for me, that I can possibly share. Yeah, is Python in demand? Yeah, it's very so Python. I think till the time we have a, I think Golang is going good. So eventually, if somebody some language take over, by that time Python is good, because the library support that Python is having, I think it's really good. Join our community to get more updates. Okay, this is from the team. Should one do web development, or can do machine learning for code for good? Okay. Okay, then I haven't started either, so not able to decide which one to start. Okay, so basically, if you want to look into the majority part of it, because going pathway, which is machine learning, there are chances that the first job that you're planning for, it will take time. Okay, because everybody nowadays want to go into data science and machine learning, so there are very less chances, because the friction is more. Thinking about web development part, yeah, you can, because the jobs are more around web development nowadays, all the startup, because the revenue making is around web development. Right now, the market is like that. Eventually, it will turn around, but right now, web development, I would suggest it's easy to start. It's easy to get your first job, because there are so many companies hiring. Okay, it could be a startup, or it could be a like product-based companies. So there are good chances that you can easily get a job in web development as compared to machine learning. That you can eventually, once you have a job in web development, you can pursue that machine learning part, and you can keep on trying. That is my way, I mean, my suggestion to you, because money will start kicking in, so that you can possibly go for a good course, or a good what to say. Uh, there are some 4 lakh courses also around that, who offer you good position, this thing, opening, they and land you into a job. So there are good things. So I would suggest go for web development. uh Question, Johan, can you tell which project are good to have in resume, as I have knowledge for Monstack and I have started DSA with C++? You can suggest some projects. Okay, so So nowadays what companies are looking for is not the replica projects. If you can slightly turn the overall objective, let's suppose if you have created a e-commerce website, okay, so instead of saying I have created a clone of Flipkart, you should be naming it differently, okay, something like shop karo, something random, okay, that make the interviewer understand that you have try being different from what others are presenting, that you have come up with a different idea, because clone everybody is making clone of LinkedIn, clone of Flipkart, all of these things. So first thing, just make it a little bit different from the regular projects, and you should deploy it on some cloud server so that it is easily accessible and you can be able to explain it how you have deployed it. That will give you upper hand in the interview process. Okay, so how much rating in code forces is sufficient that I can tackle interview questions? So code forces, so there's no as such score I can possibly tell you. It's just that you start giving interviews, then eventually you'll figure out your practice is enough or not, whether you should be um, thinking ahead or trying different problems, because it's not a good idea to focus on one problem, the one section of problem, like keep on trying array. You should be sticking to different problems, like first you make yourself familiar with strings and array, and then you can possibly go with graph or the strategy that you can follow. Python or Java for DSA, because our college is saying do Python. I have started on Python. Yeah, both are good. Actually, I have in my connection there are people good with Python and Java, so they won't insist you to be specific with a programming language. It's just that you should know how to solve the problem. How do you organize your time when it comes to learn new technologies while you need to accomplish your job shift? Greeting from Mexico to Brazil. Yeah, so basically for me, it's like, see, my job is from 9 to 5. So I have a good sweet spot from 5 a.m. to 9, because it's a hybrid system. So at times you can possibly learn from 5 to 8, and then you can commute from 8 to 9. And the other way around is like once you are done with your office, you can possibly come back and freshen up, and then you can start your studies till I think 10:30 or 11, which is a good spot. So you have a good 8 hours of sleep. So before the office or after the office, you can possibly manage. I know it will be stressful, but yeah, you no pain, no gain. Okay. I'm working somewhere as a modern developer. Previously, 2 months I am on bench. Okay. Okay, before answering this question, just a pro tip for you guys. So basically, there are chances that you are practicing something, okay, and then you are not being able to you are not being able to, you're not confident with that topic, because there are chances that you solve one problem and you forget it, okay. So what you can possibly do, you can possibly try thinking like a teacher, okay. So you can, the approach that I followed, my approach was I simply started my webcam, I started my screen recording, which is a basic feature that you are equipped with in your computer, okay. And I tried explaining the code that I have written, as in like I'm explaining it to someone, okay. So, and thinking that I will upload it into onto YouTube, and I can possibly share it with the people that way. Okay, that gives me a boost that I am explaining to a huge audience. Okay, so that ways when I'm explaining it like a teacher, it gives me a huge confidence. Okay, I can explain it to myself on a camera. Then it is replicating that environment where you are getting interviewed. So yeah, I have done that. Like I keep on solving problems, I recording it, I upload it on my YouTube. So yeah, that same strategy that you can follow. If you want to have a sample, I'm just pasting the URL of that page. So yeah, moving on to that, the next question is, I'm working somewhere as a MERN developer. It went up. Yeah, I'm working somewhere as a MERN developer. Previously 2 months I am on bench. So please, any tips to get master in MERN on any project? What step do I need to go? First thing, it's a red flag, because in this time it's not a good idea if you're there on bench, because market is not going good. Just my study on that part. So you should be what to say, you should be upgrading yourself or upskilling yourself. Okay, however you can possibly do it, you should be doing, because you should be looking for a new job. Market is very unstable right now. And talking about months that, yeah, you should not be restricted. It's a good to have thing that you have expertise in one set, but if you're going for a product based company, which is you should be, so you can possibly start learning DSLO. Since you are on bench, you have time, so you can possibly start practicing DSLO, because one you already know, and I think you have the bare minimum to get into any of the company because you have professionally worked on it. So yeah, that's my suggestion to you. And since you are a practice individual, you can go with the system design also. Apart from skills, do companies look for university from which candidate? Yeah, initially, yeah, because fresher they have to shortlist the resume. So yeah, they have to look for a specific CGPA and the university. Then if you have like 1 or 2 years of experience, that is not a benchmark. Okay, you can possibly showcase your skill and you can get a job on top of that. Because I also belong to a tier 2 college, so I can vouch for it. How to learn MERN stack? Yeah, there are so many courses, so you can possibly go ahead and explore that. So after that, I am in third year, sixth sem, but do what I do for placement. So this will be the last question. After that, we'll be continuing with the presentation. Then we'll be open for the doubts. Okay. So yeah, I am in third year, sixth semester. What do I do for placement? So that I can have a chance to apply off campus. So basically, as I told, since you are in your sixth semester, you should be uh, yeah. So basically, you have to prepare a good project. You should deploy it somewhere, and you should do it yourself, because the interviewer could possibly ask you how you deployed it, because everybody is just making a clone of it, putting onto the GitHub and sharing their resume. It doesn't make sense because everybody is doing it, and right now the job hunting part is hard. So make that one chance land a job for you. So you deploy it properly. You should know how you deployed it, because that is more than enough to get your first job in any of the service-based company. And if you're applying for a product-based company, then eventually you have upper hand, because you have actually done the things which you are going to do in the next organization. So yeah, moving on to the presentation. So yeah, I think I have gave you my background, how I started and where I am. So yeah, when I was actually practicing all of these things, that was there where I was trying to do the mock interview. There are chances you are in college, you have seniors, which was case in when I was there in college. I was doing the same thing. I was practicing the mock interview with my college senior. But once you started doing this job thing, then there are less chances that somebody is available for you to do these mock interviews. So I have opted for 6 months of long term membership, where I was practicing these mock interviews with Rishabh. So Rishabh was keep on understanding these loopholes in my interview, and he gracefully tells me, okay, see, this is where you are lacking behind, this is what you can possibly work upon. And the best thing about having a mentor is, like, whenever you feel low after that uh, after that interview, you can possibly go ahead and you can tell them upfront, this is the thing uh, that went bad, or he can possibly tell you, okay, this is where you went wrong, and he can motivate you for your next resume, so that you can learn from your mistake and you can go ahead and improve yourself and do better in your next resume. So yeah, so I have some like 6 months of long-term membership that I've done with him. So that's there. I think I have covered most of this already. So yeah, thinking about the challenges. So yeah, challenges was, as I told you, the first thing, the resume was not getting shortlisted at the end of the day, and which was very heartbreaking, because you are very clueless in that times, that what is going wrong, because I'm trying my best to groom my resume, but nothing is actually helping out, nothing is actually working out, nobody is there to give you the feedback, like this is where you are lacking behind. So yeah, it's good to first evaluate your resume based on ETS score. Okay, that way you can possibly get your resume shortlisted. If then also it's not happening, then I told you the plan B of it, the backup plan. Go reach out to the recruiters who are hiring for the same role in the organization, and then that will give you upper hand because there are so many resumes going to the recruitment. Okay, if you are getting referred by engineer manager itself, then there are high chances that you can get the first interview call, and after that you know how to crack it, right? So yeah, that is my challenges that I face and how I overcome it. In terms of, yeah, once you get your job, you need to be well prepared. So as I told you, you could try doing mock interviews with your friend, or if that is not there pre-placed, I think have a good platform where you can possibly sign up for a mentor, and they can possibly help you where you are lacking behind, and where you can possibly go ahead and do all sort of mock interviews. Third, if you want to do it yourself, you can possibly record yourself onto a camera, and you can try explaining that solution to the camera. That will actually help you boost your confidence, so that you can answer it on an actual interview, because most of the interviews nowadays are virtual. So that will give you a good practice on that part. So when I was practicing, I was majorly focused about the product-based companies, where I got interviewed with so many product-based companies since the market was very unstable nowadays. So see, don't be disheartened when things are not turning out in your favor. That means you're not getting much response, because as a working individual, I can say I was also getting the same kind of response. So yeah, don't get disheartened. It's just that the times are hard. Just keep on upskilling yourself, because the moment they will start hiring, you have upper hand. You can immediately uh, start answering question, because you have already upskilled yourself and you're interview ready in that case. So the mistakes I have made, yeah, obviously the networking is a good thing. As I told you, the ATS thing I got to know when I was actually networking with people. I was attending all these offline events where people actually come, participate, they share knowledge. So networking eventually help you upskill yourself in a number of ways. You get to know about the things that you don't have any clue about, like ATS thing that I got to know. Non-friendly ATS resume and cover letter. I already explained that part. Applying blindly to all job opening. Yeah, obviously, because if you are just keep on applying, then there are high chances that recruiter will think, okay, this guy is not focused about one or two, because you have to first read about the JD. You should understand these four JD fits into my overall agenda, so that way you can be, so just be very specific with these four openings, and just reach out to the concerned person in the company, so that you can possibly pitch in your resume and it will go to the right recruiter. Limited interview preparation, obviously, because if you think solving your problem once will give you upper hand in the resume, no, because for me, I can tell you, I was into that interview. There was some glitch in the interview, because of what I got only 15 minutes. Okay. Within 15 minutes, I have to think of a solution, explain the solution to the interviewer, code the solution, and execute the solution. So obviously that needs a lot and lot of practice. So yeah, obviously you need to either mock the interviews, either try explaining it to yourself, so that you have expertise in that ways, that you can possibly leverage that 15 minute and do everything, because there are high chances that you will land up into the situation that I went to. LinkedIn easy apply, yeah, that's there. That most of us usually do. So yeah, first thing, you should be having that bandwidth to keep on applying. It could be daily, it could be weekly, depends on your schedule. So that way I can say you should prepare your plan for the day. Or if not regularly, you should be applying to every week, because there are so many new openings going and filling it really fast, because there are so many people looking for job, because there are so many layoffs in the market. No track for job application. Obviously, you need to follow, because as I told you, if you are sending a connection request to your engineering manager, there are high chances the engineering manager are not that much active on LinkedIn. So yeah, that you have to check every day your LinkedIn, whether he have how many managers have actually accepted a request. Then you have to reach them out, so that they can possibly refer you. Okay. So yeah, no follow up. I already take that part. Handling rejection, yeah, as I told you, you should be having somebody that you can possibly share these experience with. So instead of demoralizing yourself, you can possibly learn from your mistake. When you are actually discussing with the other person, you'll get to know, okay, this is the part where I lag behind. This is the part where I can improve, so that you can bounce back with a more inertia that way. So yeah, never give up. That should be the strength. People say this, don't follow it, but you should be following, because every bad interview gives you a experience so that you won't repeat it. If you are repeating, then there's no point of you learning from your mistake. It is just that you are demoralizing yourself. So you have to learn from your last interview. That will give you a boost. It should actually motivate you if you have a bad interview, because you can see the progress, like first interview, second interview, third interview, and there must be this progress. I was switching jobs to my dream companies for the first time. Yeah, obviously, because so far, as I told you, I was working for service-based companies where they were majorly focused about the tech stack, whether you know this, whether you can do this job or not. But this was the first time when I was actually preparing for a product-based company, and product-based company when eventually means that you have to be good with your DSL Go and system design skills, because these are the two skills that they majorly look for, because they have their internal tools that you can't possibly expertise before jumping to that job. I decided to adopt a different strategy this time. Yeah, as I told you, like I have given you, I think, good number of pointers that you can possibly look for, improve yourself, and go ahead with that. I came across personalized guidance and mentorship on free place during my research. Yeah, I think that part actually turned out really good for me when I was actually, because as I told you, I was not having mentor support, because all my college mate and the senior, they were occupied with their own stuff. So I was looking for somebody to practice with who can possibly tell me all the loopholes. So luckily I found Rishabh, and I set the expectation right with him, and he actually helped me out moving ahead with my job hunt. Yeah, and the strategy that helped me. So let's take some questions now, and then possibly we can move ahead after that. So where are we? Is this session recorded? I think the team can answer you better. One last thing, I know each and every concept of bond, and also I am this. Also I am able to implement it, but when I go for interview and they ask machine coding related question, at that I am unable to do. So please, any tips? Yeah. So machine coding, I think there's a good website that you can possibly go. I don't remember it, but I can possibly put it onto my YouTube channel where you can possibly check it. So that's a good website where you can possibly go and practice this machine coding, because that's there. That's a new trend with the service-based companies that I've seen. So yeah, you can go ahead and go to those website, and you can possibly practice it. सर आपको डीएसए पढ़ने में कितने मंथ लगे? So for me it was very specific. I started it. I had a plan for 3 months where I have to switch the job. So that way I started. For initial 1 month, I have figured out, okay, I have to cover strings. Okay, so I have completed it along with the arrays. Okay, because these two are the major question making points where most of the companies are asking either strings or arrays. Okay, so initial 1 month I struggled, but I figured out that strings and arrays that I have to finish it off. So that way I started giving interviews, and that way I got to know which are the most repetitive question that I should be practicing, and I was preparing that way. So that's my suggestion to you. Just make an agenda for your month-on-month growth, and you have to see your growth. Whether you, how you can possibly see your growth, you should giving the mock interviews, or you could give an actual interview also with a startup firm. There you can possibly, because startup firms also usually nowadays asking DSAs, so that will give you a reality check. How much CPA is needed to crack OS of product-based companies? See, I'm not the right person to answer the competitive program bar, because I haven't done much of CP. So yeah, you can possibly ask the right mentor that who can possibly help you on that part. Then Anushka Singh, how did your mentor help you with the interview preparation, and how did you choose your mentor? So basically, yeah, that's a good question. I started with first figuring out what kind of target that I'm having. Okay, I was looking for a product based company, so I specifically look for the people who have exposure with man companies as well as a product based company. So Rishabh is coming from Samsung, and he moved on to Google. Okay, so he have a product based company Samsung, and he is from a man company, so it inclined with my interest. So that way I figured out the mentor part, and the part where he helped me, as I told you, I was lacking behind with some of the pointers that I don't figured out where I'm going wrong with the interviews, because interviews are going wrong. There is not a good feedback system with most of the company. They just discard your resume. Like, they don't come back to you even though you follow. They just say you are rejected that way. So I had a good help in terms of having a reality check with Rishabh, where he was keep on telling me things to be improved every day. Okay, every week we were having two sessions where he was telling me improve this, and in next session I make sure I won't repeat that mistake. So yeah, that was there. Along with that, he told me how the planning that we made was together. Like, for initial 1 month, this is our target. For initial 3 months, this is our target. For initial 6 months, this is our target, and we keep on checking on these benchmarks. So yeah, I think that answers your question, Anusha. Then Donna is asking, yes, please, recording would be very helpful. Yeah, so that you can check with the team. Farida Anju. So clearly, OA isn't needed. Yeah. So being a freshie, I can't say much, but yeah, DSLGO is something that you should be good at. If you're good with this, I think most of the competitive program, because I was watching so many YouTube lately. So consuming this much of knowledge, I figured out competitive programming. Yeah, it is required. There are people doing it, but you have to balance a good mix of DSLGO with competitive program that you are doing. Yeah, that's my suggestion. Can we get recording of this meeting has session? Yeah, that you need to check with the team. Sir, what about the question that were asked based on the operating system and DMS? Okay, so for DBMS, there's a good playlist on LeadCut that can possibly go ahead and check that out. There are some very repetitive questions that I've figured out. So one question I can possibly tell you. The question is, uh, find the employees whose salary is greater than their managers. Okay, so in the same employee table, they have given all the data. So try doing it yourself. The same question you can find it on lead code also. So yeah, that is a good starting point for you that you can possibly explore. For operating system, yeah, if you are doing this deployment by yourself, I think most of good question that you can think of, not specifically to operating system, but in general interviews, you can be able to. If you are good with the deployment, I don't think so. They will go in depth with operating system, like high level and low level system design. But yeah, can you please describe your interview experience? So yeah, for me, most of the interview experience looks like first round. It is DSLGO, where I am getting interviewed for the DSLGO skills. Uh, Major question was around arrays, strings, as we have already discussed. Most of the companies ask question around these two. If they are going ahead and trying a medium level question, they usually ask for graphs and all. So I can tell you my most recent experience. One of the question actually, one of the company recently asked me the question that find the kth largest element from yeah, find the kth largest element. So these questions that you can expect in, that is a medium level question, and it's very easy. If you start doing DSLGO, you'll understand that it's not that hard. Maybe it can sound you, because initially when I was starting, it was hard for me, but that's few of the question that was very repetitive, so I thought to give you a good start on that. Sir, what question was here that I have already asked? Recording. Oh, okay, yeah, interview experience. That was the DSA round of it. Then there comes a system design round of it. So in the system design, The question goes like they gave you a simple sample design of a system, and they possibly ask you to optimize it or make changes so that it could have it could have a very large, it could cater a very large user base. Like you have to scale it up the system, and they will possibly ask you, you want to make it a micro monolithic server or a microservice server. For that you need to have an idea what is a microservice and what a monolithic server is. So yeah, that is, if you don't have much idea, I'm planning a good content around this. So yeah, that's a good way to go. Recording will be provided to attendees. Yeah, the team is already responding to you, so you have that answer. uh is it is of self, yeah, yeah, yeah. You have that answer. You can possibly, so similar to these problems, you can go ahead, practice it on lead code, have a very good playlist around that. Anirudh, I think you have most of the answer already. So I think you're doing a lot of DSL things. Abhishek is asking, sir, aside from DSA and web dev, what are the technical subjects or topic we should prepare for the interview? Yeah, I told you, right? First, DSA, web dev deployment, because since you are doing a web dev, there are high chances they will possibly ask you how you are going to deploy it. And yeah, that's a good to have thing. Then when you're learning deployment, you can possibly go ahead and learn for system designs. It's a fairly beginner level topics also there and some high level topics also there. So you can start with a beginner level topic, understanding how system design works, like how you should be thinking of a problem, because eventually it helps you in a number of ways. You can be possibly you can possibly relate to how the system that you use has been actually designed. Because I was just reading a system design video where I was actually relating to one of the services that I was using. Okay, this is how they have built it. So yeah, it's a good to have thing, not a compulsory thing, but good to have thing in the beginner level, because that will give you upper hand. What are the good resources for system design? I think YouTube is a good resource. It's just that you have to practice it well with somebody who can possibly ask you, okay, design LinkedIn, design Google Ads, or design YouTube, anything like that. So eventually that will give you a confidence, because when you are actually explaining to somebody, then you will figure out what are your knowledge gaps. So yeah, record yourself, upload it on YouTube. It's free. It will give you a confidence, and if your luck turns out to be good, you will get a good audience. Similar how I done that. For learning system language that I have answered, can I apply for the SE roles with ML projects instead of web dev projects? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, because project doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you should make a project which is working, that you can possibly showcase to your interviewer. That is more than enough for a SE role. So yeah, you can either go for ML or a web dev, anything, until unless it is up and working. And it's a good to have thing if we can deploy it somewhere, so that immediately if the interviewer want to access it, they can. Because screen sharing, you can do that, but it would be better if, and the other interviewer can possibly just click on the link, and he can possibly get the idea around that, and you can possibly ask you cross question how you have built that part of anything like that. So yeah, Nukul is asking, can I get internship based on my project? Yeah, actually, because project is a starting point. If you can be able to elaborate your project, because eventually, what you have built on your project should be somewhere realistic. Okay, you should be building some sort of e-commerce website or something, because at the end of the day, you are working on the same thing. Although they inflate things, but at the end of the day, similar to that we are working. You will be working on a small module where actually you have to focus on some Python language. You have to be equipped with one language with one framework. It could be like in Python, you can think of, you could be equipped with Python with Flask and databases there. So yeah, that way you can use your projects, and you can get your internship. And I told you like how you can get upper hand, because not most of the people are actually reaching out to the recruiters. Okay, so yeah, that's a hack. I don't know whether it's available on YouTube or not, but yeah, this is how I followed. I'm just telling you my part of it. You must have done internship too, right? Yeah, I have done that during my college time period, where I was actually replicating a software which was used for Delhi University. And that was a library management system software. Back then, it was the thing. Nowadays, it's very normal to build something like that. But yeah, I was replicating the entire software from Java to Python, and I have implemented some new machine learning libraries on top of that. So yeah, that was my interview experience. So actually, at the end of the day, you have to learn and you have to be confident what you have built, because they will ask you cross questions around that. Where did you look for them? I'm running out of options. Okay, yeah. First, internshala is a good alternative. Obviously, internship, you can't think of a paid internship. Because the market is very competitive. It's a good to have thing if you get one. Okay, I would definitely encourage go for a this one like paid internship, because there they focus more because they are actually paying you. Okay, but if you're not getting, don't get disheartened if you're getting a unpaid internship. Then also, because that is your learning period. At the end of the day, you should be researching well about the company, what's the learning curve and all of these things. So that is the homework for you. Donna is asking, you must have done internship, which I just I have already answered. Sorry, can you please share your LinkedIn? Yeah, sure. No problem. We'll quickly share it with you. Okay, I think we are done with the question part. Let's continue with our presentation further. Then, in the meantime, we'll have some more this thing uh, questions. So yeah, the strategy that I followed was majorly around getting the networks. Okay, yeah, referral support. That's a good thing. As I told you, the mentor that you are aligned with, there are good chances that he or she could be working in a good product-based company. So you get a good referral there. Okay, and they have friends. They can forward your resume there also. And other than that, if you want to go ahead and explore above and beyond that, you are good to go with the LinkedIn strategy, the tips that I've given to you. Personalized roadmap, yeah, as I was working with Rishabh, I had some 1 year, 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month benchmarks. Hidden interview tips, yeah, I already gave you most of it. Although you are free to ask anything above and beyond that, if you want my point of view on that, okay, in the comments. Mock interview, or you can unmute yourself also if you want to. Networking, I already told you how we can possibly network and how that will benefit us. Getting a reality check, that is actually required because we think we are confident enough for the interview, but eventually, when you actually try explaining it to yourself, you will start fumbling, or there are chances that you will forget things, because actual interview is different from how you actually sit on the corner and you are practicing a solve you are solving a problem. Okay, because as I told you in my past experience, there were times when I actually get 15 minutes to do everything, thinking, explaining to the interviewer, so coding it out, and then again explaining it how it works, like dry running it, and then possibly figuring out the solution. Yeah, call and WhatsApp support, yeah, that was actually good, because when you are actually working with your mentor, you had a 24/7 help him. Basically, you can dial him up and you can tell your interview experience, whether it went good, bad, and the learning part of it he can possibly tell you, so that you can use in your next interview. Yeah, the feedback mechanism is really good, because he was giving feedbacks at the end of every session, things I should be improving, and that way I was actually improving myself, and I get good support in that way. Referral support we already spoke about. Mentor available on call during your low phase, that we already spoke about. How did the long-term mentorship actually help me? It was majorly around the personalized guidance, because I just make sure you have the expectation right. You have actually uh, tell what your goals are, what's the timeline for that, so that you can actually plan that way. Skill development will eventually be there, and accountability and motivation that will come along with that, because every interview you can see the change happen. Networking opportunities, obviously you have a mentor who is actually well placed than where you are, so he can connect you with the right people, so that you get your first interview easily. Preparation for your interviews, yeah, you can have mock interviews. Confidence building will be there, and the challenges that you face in an actual interview, it's better you actually try it, mocking it, and have that sort of challenges in your mock interviews that you don't feel disheartened in an actual interview. I should have prepared it well before. Okay. The feature that I stood up, like you can call your mentor, you can message your mentor, and you can pause your overall packages that way. Let's take few more questions in the meantime. Um, I don't see any questions. If you guys still want me to answer any question, you can unmute yourself or you can post your question on the chat window. We'll just wait for another 1 or 2 minutes. Then we'll move on to the presentation part. Can I get internship in JP Morgan in web development? Yeah, you can. There is a particular way, like they run some challenges. I'm not much sure about it because there are so many interns. They recently had some 700 plus interns from different colleges. So they do run these kind of programs, but you have to be good with DSL because they have some criteria in terms of CGA. Because in the comments, you just have seen like they have a higher way of hiring. So, what do you think about code for good for GPMC? Basically, I see. The thing is, I don't have much idea around that, but yeah, you should be having some good CGP. Along with that, you should be good with your regular DSL thing. Along with that, they look into your different attributes, how what makes you different. Because there are so many applications coming on a daily basis. So yeah, that is my suggestion. And yeah, if you guys want a referral in JP, I will be more than happy to give you one. That's a good question, but we are not allowed to share that information, Joshin. Is this session recorded? Can I watch later? Yeah, I think team have already answered you that you will all the attendees will get the recording of the session. 1 more minute, then we'll move on, continue with the presentation. Any doubt are more than welcome. If you feel like it's a long doubt, you can't type it out, you can just speak it out. Okay, the next question, any roadmap for learning anything? See, related to roadmap, I will, right now I don't have everything handy, but on my YouTube you can see, eventually I have a good plan around providing all those sort of resources there. So you can refer there. In next few days, you will see all the resources related to system design, DSL, all the things that I have followed. And okay, let's move on to the presentation now. Now, the thing is, type of session you can take with your mentor is the mock interviews. We already spoke about that, actually helped me. Then we have a planning, like one-on-one sync up, where you are actually benchmarking your different road or timestamp, like 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, based on that. Resume review, as I told you, it's really required because, as I told you, you have ATS. If you cannot be able to make a good ATS resume, you have different service provider. Then also, if you want, you can discuss with your mentor. He can possibly help you to review your resume and revamping your resume. Then enhancement will eventually be there if you're actually doing that mock interview with him. He can possibly help you upskilling yourself. You should pick the right mentor. For that, you have a trial session that you can go ahead with. Interview process clarification. Obviously, being a fresher, you don't know how the interview process looks like in a product based firm. You can possibly hop into one of these programs and you can possibly ask him how you get one so that he can guide you step by step and he can tell you how to prepare and he can benchmark you on the same because you are doing this mock interviews with him. Job application assistance, you will get like referral from him. So that way you are sorted. So yeah, I think we are coming to the end. Before wrapping this up, we'll have some more question. I don't see any. Let me just wait for 1 minute, then we can possibly wrap the session. Guys, last, yeah, yeah. Somebody is speaking. Go ahead. Okay, let's move on to our presentation. Yeah, final takeaways from my journey is like how the value has been created during the session where we were actually going back and forth in terms of the preparation that I have done and the improvement that I could possibly do after each iteration. We have a new version of the things that I can improve upon. Yeah, you have to be persistent. It's very clear that whatever you are doing, you just keep on doing, because see, at the end of day, if you are being persistent, if you are, I have met one of my friends, she was actually done 365 days of DSA algo. He haven't skipped a single day of practicing DSL, and she landed up a job in Amazon. Okay, so at the end of the day, consistency is the key. If you are not, if you don't know how you can be consistent about it, I can tell you. I have actually a extension installed in my PC. There are so many extension that I've installed that make me solve one problem every day. Okay, so that way you can also do the same. I can point out all those extension in my next YouTube video so they can possibly install same thing and you can be consistent about it. Okay, because if you are solving one question a day or not one, three question a week, okay, and you are consistent about it, you are making good growth. Okay, so, as compared to your other fellow colleagues or your college mates, that will give you upper hand in your preparation. So yeah, adaptability and flexibility. Because there were a number of time when I actually called Rishabh, dial Rishabh, and tell him, see, today is not possible, and he was very flexible about it. Okay, we'll do it tomorrow. If not tomorrow, we'll do it day after. Okay, that way he was very flexible. Okay, so that was one of the plus point. Then networking is the key. We already spoke about, like, you should be networking with the right right people so that you can gain, you can explore more and acquire more knowledge. Continuous learning, yeah, obviously, because see, if you are not being able to follow with your regular schedule, then you have these benchmark sessions. If you are having a session on Friday, you have decided for next Wednesday. If you're not doing progress, then eventually you will feel shy about it to join the next Wednesday session. Okay, so eventually that will give you a motivation to improve, and you have to actually work on the things that you lagged behind in the last session. So that is one way to be consistent. One more way to be consistent, other than these extension things that I told you. Believe in yourself. You should be. Nobody else should tell you that you should be continue. You should be reading about something or doing something. You should believe in yourself. Celebrate achievements. Yeah, obviously, because that is, see, let's suppose if you crack one interview, you should be discussing with the mentor and he can possibly tell you, okay, this is one step closer to your dream company, and let's keep, let's celebrate this achievement and let's focus on your goal. Okay, so that way that will cheer you up. Yeah, final tips. Yeah, have faith and belief. Upscaling at every point. Rejections are learning, and consistent effort. This last one is the most, my favorite thing, and rejection or learning is the second favorite thing. So yeah, that's all the best from my side to all of you guys. I will be open for question for next few minutes. Then Sarthak can possibly help us.
Yes,
Um, yeah,
hey. So, looks good. I think all the questions are well taken, and we can wrap up the call. So, thank you for sharing the insights. I'm sure a lot of mentees, gain insights into how they should prepare for their interview journey. So thank you for that. And everybody will be sharing the recordings with you by this week end, and you can go ahead and explore the mentors that are present on the platform to find a mentor that is more suitable for you if you want to go ahead with taking mentorship. So thanks everyone for joining in, and again, thank you, Rahul, for such a wonderful session.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks for your time. All the best for your upcoming interviews.